we start anything in this video, she's not Clary. Who is she, Erin?
She's Simon.
She's Simon.
What's up, Shadow Hunters, Angels, and Downloaders alike, and welcome to episode 2 of our podcast discussing the problems with Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series. I would like to start off and saying thank you for the response to City of Boners. Honestly, when we were posting it up, I was expecting there to be so many people going, I love the books, I love the books. The books are great. What are you talking about? You're just a hater. Cassandra Clare is life. She's bad.
In reality, we actually got a lot of people who were agreeing with us. Even if they were like, I still like the books, but I agree with your points. It was epic. We got a lot of views, we got a lot of comments, and keep them coming!
It's the most popular view count I've gotten in the space of a week on all the videos on my channel, so thank you. It's really weird. I was expecting, at least expecting one person. Weirdly enough, I actually did get someone sending me a hate comment before the video even went up. When I wrote on my Tumblr that we were doing a podcast about the problems with the series, I got someone commenting going, "You're the reason the fandom is so toxic. Why can't you just leave it alone? Blah, blah, blah." I was like, okay.
Why can't you leave Casserole alone?
Leave Casserole alone! I just told her, look, we're doing it. It's all opinion-based anyway. Like, stop gurning. People talk about the problems of Shadow Hunters all the time, so why can't I talk about the books?
Watch it, don't watch it.
Read it, don't read it.
It's gonna happen.
This is us sharing our opinions, so deal with it. And hi guys, if you're the positive guys, you're not the ones we're talking about.
Just to clarify.
But, back to our intro, we discovered something very interesting this week. When I wrote on Tumblr that I wanted people to send in the problems that they had with the Mortal Instruments books and to leave their blog name if they could so we could mention it.
Oh, we got a lot.
We got a lot. But the most interesting one, I have to say, was actually sent in by an anon, which is annoying because I wanted to use the blog name so people would go and follow them or whatever. But this was actually the last one I got sent in before we recorded this, and it blows everything that we said about Clary last season out of the water, but it makes so much sense.
It's like when you hear it and you go, Casserole is actually Simon, you don't believe it, but what we have down, we have facts, we did research.
Yes, we did research just to fact check, and what we have here was sent in by an anon on Tumblr, and quoting directly, I have my notes out in front of me, an anon sent in to me, "Can you mention how Simon is also kind of a self-insert, as both he and Clare are Jewish, are both straight, and have the last name Lewis. So she made him have a happy ending and get the girl by breaking book logic. Eventually, of course." That is why Simon is the way he is throughout this series.
Daddy's stool.
You'll understand the more we talk about as the books progress, because I'm not the Gary Stoonas kind of starts in City of Ashes, but it doesn't really hit home until the later books. But honestly, I would actually believe that Cassandra is Simon over Clary. She tried to throw us off by making Clary look like her. Yeah.
What she did, if you give her anything, you have to give her kudos that we didn't see it coming. You thought she was Clary. Oops, I broke it.
She broke her book.
The spine is now broken. Can you see? I'm not moving, but But yes, she sort of diverted from course by making the main character, the little ginger everyone loves. But by making Simon her self-insert, she was devious about that.
She did it in a very clever way, because Lewis isn't her maiden name. Lewis is her married name. She married Joshua Lewis. And then Cassandra Clare is her alias as she writes the books. So it's not her maiden name, it's not her alias, it's her married name, which she rarely uses.
Because, she's Casserole instead.
Yeah. It was just to throw us all off. So Simon is the one who's actually representing Cassandra Clare. I'll give her kudos for that. That was I would never have thought. I just thought Simon was she just wrote him like that because she wanted him to have so much stuff happening to him or whatever. Stop it. Starting off talking about what happens in City of Ashes. So, we left off in City of Bones. Valentine has the Mortal Cup. Clary and Jace are siblings.
We get a very lot of interesting incesty stuff to come.
Yeah. And basically everything that could have went wrong did. And actually, something that always bothered me about people claiming that the movie was so good. Valentine didn't get the cup. Do you remember?
Yeah. Just like, oh wait, no, he doesn't get.
He doesn't get the cup. Like,
The good guys win.
We'll discuss this more when we do the
Movie.
The movie. But it's just something every single time this comes up, it really gets me because I'm just like, people are like, oh, I want a City of Ashes movie, and you're like,
but
how?
It wouldn't work.
They won.
How? You know, the bad guy didn't get the Mortal Cup. He didn't get his ultimate goal. So where do they have to go? So not only would they not be able to sort of pick up from where the movie left off for what's that word? Continuity. But I'm gonna be real with you guys. I remembered nothing from City of Ashes. Nothing.
I read it once.
It was very forgettable. It was very
It's an in-between book.
Yeah. Like the filler episode and
seasons. Well, when you consider that the Mortal Instruments was supposed to be a trilogy, it legitimately is an in-between book. It's the Catching Fire. It's the Infinite Sea. It's the Scorched Trials of the Mortal Instruments series.
The Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah,
but that's subjective, to be fair.
It's a very in-between book. Nothing really big happens.
Well,
it's a good plot synopsis. You stop mucking around.
I'm sorry.
In City of Ashes, the Inquisitor comes in and she gets suspicious of Jace. She thinks because of what he did in the last book, she thinks he's in league with Valentine. So he gets imprisoned in the City of Bones. When he's imprisoned in the City of Bones, Valentine comes, kills all the Silent Brothers, gets the mortal sword. Because Jace was there, the Inquisitor comes along and thinks, oh, you did that, you're still in league with him. So it's basically a book of trying to prove Jace's innocence. So Clare, Isabelle and all, they all come to the City of Bones, and Alec calls Magnus, and Magnus offers for Jace to come to his apartment. He'll look after him while they're sorting everything out. Jace is not allowed to leave Magnus's apartment. They get a call from the Seelie Queen. The Seelie Queen... Well, the Seelie Court, the Queen doesn't make the calls herself. the Seelie Court came, offered they want to see Jace. So, Alec exchanges Jace's place, and Jace goes to the Seelie Court. Then there's the Seelie Court stuff, which we'll get in a minute. Yeah. In brief terms, Jace and Clare end up having to kiss. It gets passionate, they get upset. Because Simon is dating Clare, he gets upset and he runs off. He has a run-in with Raphael and the vampires. He ends up getting killed. And his blood mixes in with the vampires and he's basically dead. But because his blood mixed in with the vampires, he had digested some, he could be turned into a vampire. So they had to bury him and to do the whole thing.
He comes out
of the ground, he gets raised from the dead as a vampire. So he's a vampire now. There's some stuff about Maya and some demons and Luke. Nothing of really importance. Basically, they end up in not Luke's apartment. They end up in Luke's house. And Clare has to prove that she can invent runes, because she invented a rune that helped Jace escape from the City of Bones. No one believes her, so she invents a fearless rune. They try the fearless rune out in Alec. It works. Another scene we're going to have to discuss in a minute. And basically they found out Clare can invent runes! Then Jace gets on a motorcycle. I can't remember why. He gets on a motorcycle, goes to Valentine's boat. They have a whole exchange, and then Maya gets kidnapped, and they have to go and save her. Simon gets drained of blood. Jace has to give him Simon's blood. He offers it and to help Simon. Clare goes, Clare and everyone else ends up at the boat. Magnus charms a truck to be able to drive across the water, and there's a whole battle on the boat, because they need to get back Jace, need to get back Maya, they need to do all their things. So there's a big battle on the boat. The Inquisitor realizes that Jace is innocent, and she tells him that she recognizes a star-shaped birthmark on his shoulder.
Very specific, isn't it?
I know. And she said she knows who his family are, but before she can tell him, of course, she gets killed protecting him. So there's a big battle on the boat. Clare invents a rune that blows a hole in the boat, and all the water rushes in. They start to sink, and basically Valentine gets away again. So pretty much the book starts and finishes with the same sort of similar, as City of Bones. Nothing. There's a few minor things that change, like Simon, but. And a bit that I forgot. Clary has a discussion with Luke about how he regrets how
not telling.
he didn't tell Jocelyn how he felt. So Clary decides that she wants to pursue their relationship with Jace, even though they're brother and sister. But Jace turns her down and says, "No, we're siblings. I'm treating you as a brother would treat a sister." And she's heartbroken, and that's where it ends.
Oh no, that person who meets.
Someone else shows up who claims to be a friend of Jocelyn, and she says she knows how to wake her.
Wake her up?
Yeah. If she meets a friend of Jocelyn's, and Jocelyn says, "I know how to wake your mother up." Bookends.
So pretty much everything that happens could probably happen in a chapter.
Yeah.
So biggest problem I have with this book is the incestuous, obviously.
Yeah.
So, like in the other books, the biggest problem is the incest. It is. We found out that Casserole, I think we mentioned in the last one, doesn't have any siblings. So the way she's romanticized the relationships that you would have with them is sort of worrying, to say the least. And even though Jace and Clary are siblings, people are still like, you can't help who you love. And you're just like, yeah, no, you can't, but you know,
because the main point of incest in this book is the Seelie Court.
Oh yeah.
Because in the Seelie Court, Clary is tricked into consuming Seelie food, and it means she cannot leave because they're kind of like in it. They had to enter through a pond, so they're kind of underwater, and she can't leave unless she kisses the person she desires most. And at this point, she's dating Simon, so Simon says, "Oh, I'll kiss you," and the Queen's like,
3 guesses. You will win a prize of nothing if you can guess who it is.
Jace. And it's sort of like they played it off as a whole, forbidden love kind of thing. We're tricking you. And fine. If you wanted to do it that way, fine. Make it like the Queen is being sadistic and wants to play with their emotions. So
it could have been interesting.
It could have been a peck. Mm-hmm. But it is legitimately described that the kiss that Clary and Jace share to get out of the Seelie Court gets passionate and it's supposed to be hot, and it gets really, really into it when they still think they're siblings.
It's like that, that situation where you're really in, getting into a full makeout session and someone's behind you going, but it's, all your friends who know you're
like, oh, I
siblings.
Love her. And you're just sitting reading it going, this is gross. Oh, I was on Instagram today, and there's Shadowhunters confession. Shadowhunters, the Mortal Instruments confession pages where people submit confessions anonymously about the show and the books. There was one where they were talking about how Shadowhunters didn't give enough attention to Clace. Their relationship wasn't built up enough.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And there's like, they're not. The whole point of the books was that it was forbidden love, and they thought they were brother and sister, and they were like, I want the kiss in the Seelie Court. It's like,
I don't.
It's like, I can't process it. Why would you want that?
I would take forbidden love as if in, the whole angel and demon. We'll put it in the angel and demon strategy, the whole. Do you want to take him? No, anyway, taking the whole angel and demon strategy, we could say it's forbidden in that sense because they're 2 very different worlds. That could have worked. That could have been tolerable. But why does it have to be blood relation? Why does it have to be, a brother and a sister? It's weird. I don't care what kind of fetishes she has. I wish she didn't put it down in this book.
I think they were trying to play it off like because they're not really siblings. Even people who watch Shadowhunters know they're not siblings anymore. But as far as they know, they are.
Like, they're well aware that they are blood related. So anything that they did is like, I'm sorry to whoever fucks their sister, you redneck weirdo, but it's wrong. It's just wrong. Every part of your genetic being knows it's wrong, and so maybe that's why they still had feelings for each other because they didn't know. Because in your guts, you do. It's a big warning bell.
Sure, we had a submission, like a topic submission request from someone called Annotating Archangels on Tumblr, and they said, can't believe you didn't call it City of Arses. Was a possibility, but we thought Asshats would be funnier. Can't believe you didn't call it City of Arses. It's not a City of Ashes thing specifically, but could you talk about how Cece's incest fetish is so great, she named an entire series after her Ron times Ginny fanfiction.
Oh, yeah, we've both gone over the fact how Casserole wrote her books based on her fan fictions of Harry Potter, and that's essentially what the mortal instruments are. They're just, different names.
But all I was aware was that she wrote Draco and Hermione.
Yeah, which are popular shit, but Ron and
Ginny?
It's like she wrote these books for the pure sense of incest. And do you know what I think? I bet she wrote them with the full intent of keeping them brother and sister, but the editors were like, you need to stop. You need to not do that, because...
It's actually, someone actually asked her a question on Twitter ages ago, and they were like, what were the first thoughts that came into your head about when you were going to decide to write the mortal instruments? I can't remember specifically the different things she said, but she said something along the lines of powerful tattoos, angels and demons, incest.
Like, that was one of her points. When you put down bullet points of what you want your story to be about, that was a main key factor. This was one of the things she wanted to be in these books completely.
Like, and it's everyone notices it. Every time I told people to send me in something about their problems with the mortal instruments, it was always about the Seelie Court. Alien spades on Tumblr, incest in the Seelie Court, Clare and Gia still being for each other after they were told they're related. Everyone noticed it, and no anyone with any sense of morality weren't down for it.
It's even a case of morality at this point. It's just against nature. Wait, no, it's not, because animals fuck their relatives, but
we're not animals. They're supposed to be intelligent beings here.
Against human nature.
They're supposed to be intelligent beings. More high and mighty than mundanes. I'm starting to be a mundane that want to fuck my sister.
The twisted life of a shadow hunter.
Oh.
But the thing is, still in these books, people are like, you can't help who you love.
You can't help it.
We don't blame you. It's sad. None of them are like, well, you get the fuck off your brother.
I would believe it much better if they had been together for years.
Yeah.
And had believed for years that they were in love, they were about to get married or something. But it's only over the course of City of Bones that they fall in love, and it's only supposed to be like, a few weeks?
Insta love.
And yes, insta love, and all of a sudden they're supposed to be so tormented by each other. And then Clary fucks off with Simon. Clary fucks off to be with Simon, and then in City Glass gets angry when Jace is kissing other women.
Oh yeah, I can have a rebound, but you can't. I can sleep with other people, but you can't. But we're getting across with other books at this point. But
and it's even more annoying because she knew when she started dating Simon that Simon had feelings for her.
Oh yeah.
She was treating Simon as a rebound.
This is the easy option.
Because she knew he'd take her. He was safe. But she was basically messing around with his feelings. Elaine Spades on Tumblr said Clary treated Simon like a consolation prize. And she does!
It's the entire... Like, Simon's always in a backstore for...
She's comfortable knowing Simon is always there he's a backup.
Oh, what do they call them? Safety boats.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing, like if we're not married by the time we're 40, we'll marry each other.
So, no.
She was fucking around, so because she can't have her brother...
Have my best friend.
I'll have my best friend. And then at the end of the book, just because Luke says he regrets not telling Jocelyn, someone who's not related to him, that he regrets not telling her how he felt before she was poisoned, Clary thinks, I should tell Jace that we should just fuck it. We should just do it. We don't care. And then Jace is the one with a friggin' brain for once. It's like, ow. I don't know. When Jace becomes the intelligent one in a situation, you fucked up. And he was like, no. And he's treated like the big bad wolf for that.
Yeah, people are like, oh my god, Jace, how could you? You know you love her. And it's like, yeah, but see, here's the thing. She's my sister.
I can't.
Would you... Alec, Isabelle, are you gonna fuck?
That's actually a thing.
I know, but let's pretend it's not. Gross. I know.
Some people are nasty.
Well, that's basically the most of things that happens in the book. Just conflict, incest, and then Clary's like, oh my god, why doesn't he love me?
And directly related to the Seelie Court is beforehand when Jace is not allowed to leave the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all having a sit down. Magnus steals coffee with his magic, and they're all talking about how they're going to get Jace to the Seelie Court, and they decide, let's have Alec stay behind.
Oh.
And Jace can go to the Seelie Court and shoving Alec into a corner again, Alec and Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually excited when I was reading the book when this happened. I thought, oh my god, this is so cool. Their relationship is just starting. This is going to be so awkward in a cute way, if you know what I mean. They're stuck in an apartment together. They just leave, and you never know what happens.
Know what happens. Casserole just put the Malec into a corner again, as you said, and just sort of left.
And another interesting development. On Tumblr, Cassandra Clare very rarely answers questions. She would do it in a very sort of restrained fashion. Every so often she would answer a question.
Mm-hmm.
Recently she answered a question where someone asked what it was like to write Alec and Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote a big long thing basically trying to save her own ass on the fact that she never really wrote Alec and Magnus. She must have noticed by now that people had a problem with it, that they were always shoved off in the corner, and there was always like there was always something keeping them from being part of the main plot. So, back in 2005, we're going to take a whole little
Back in
time. Cue Doctor Who music.
I was just about to say that. You're even wearing blue.
Yeah. And back in 2005, Cassandra Clare was trying to submit City of Bones to publishers for them to publish it. She was having trouble because back in 2005, no publishing company wanted to be related to a story that involved an openly gay character. Not even an openly gay character, just a gay character in general. A gay character, bisexual character. They didn't want anything to do with it. I would believe that. I was like 6 in 2005. I don't know what was going on in terms of LGBT politics. So I would believe that that's what happened. And even when City of Bones was published by... Who publishes it? Walker Books. When City of Bones was published by Walker Books, Barnes & Noble... I think it was Barnes & Noble. It was one of those big bookstores. When they released a review of City of Bones, they marked it down as explicit, as in explicit content. And their description for what the explicit content is that there's an openly gay character in it. And that's awful, you know?
That's something you have to put a warning against.
Yeah, Alec never even... if you have Jason and Clary practically humping each other when they think they're siblings,
but the gay is the bad part.
The one gay character he's never written is bad. So Cassandra Clare explained this, and I remember hearing about this before, so I thought, yeah, okay, I get it. So she said that she wrote Alec and Magnus, always shoving them off in a corner to save her books from being cancelled and not being published anymore.
Apparently.
She claims that she wanted to go back and write about them when she was given more freedom to. So but here's the catch, and this is why I don't believe what she's saying. I don't know how to put this. When after City of Glass is published, we barely have any Malec. Fine, whatever. Maybe she did. Maybe if it had ended the City of Glass, I would have thought, okay, maybe she didn't. She did want to go back and write what she wanted for Malec. But she decided to extend the books on. She wrote City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, City of Heavenly Fire, and in those books, there's continuously more Malec in it,
forced,
than the other books. But the problem is, she's building up to them breaking up. Because plot, drama, that kind of thing. So she claims that she really hated that she wasn't allowed to write these gay characters, but all of a sudden when she is writing more about their relationship, it's all just building up to them breaking up.
Yeah, it brings to the point of where Alec was suddenly completely out of character.
Once City of Fallen Angels hits, Alec is not himself anymore.
He just becomes a whiny bitch. Like,
not even in the way he was a whiny bitch in City of Glass.
Yeah, like, because now you sort of relate to it. You're like, yeah, he becomes like a possessive girlfriend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But more into that when it happens. But the point is, when she was allowed to write them and give them proper development.
Because once City of Glass hit, the books were popular. They wouldn't have cancelled it. It would have been stupid. Why would they cancel the series that was bringing in so much money?
It sparked a movie and freaking 2 seasons of other books. They weren't going to just get rid of it. So
she's giving more freedom, and she decides to use this freedom to break them up,
which is very fishy.
And she is writing them now. Because Malec's popularity has exploded, she's writing The Lost Book of the White, which comes out in November. And every snippet she releases is always something mature. And she acts like she cares about what people say about her gay characters. And maybe she does, but it does when she acts like she's like a pioneer of these LGBT books. These books pride themselves on being
Gay?
having gay characters. When I first read it, these are the first books I ever read where the character was just gay. And it was 2013, it was a very confusing time for me. I thought, wow, this is great. And it convinced me that everything that was going on in the books about the gay characters was okay. It made me think that was alright, and it's really not. And Alec is always shoved off, Alec and Magnus are always shoved off in the corner. Any snippet that you see throughout the books, them together, is either them bitching to each other, them snogging each other to get the fangirls riled up.
Oh, yeah.
You never see them date, so you'd have to buy the Bane Chronicles for that. You never see how their relationship develops. She claims to care about these characters. She went on a rant once when someone asked her who was top or bottom in the relationship, Alec or Magnus. She went on a rant about how that is fetishizing gay characters and how you can't ask that. It doesn't matter. Why is that all people care about in Malec? You know why that's all they care about, Cassandra? It's all you wrote. You never wrote the fluffy moments. You never wrote them loving each other and building up to that. You never wrote getting to know each other. You never wrote the awkward moment when they were trapped in that apartment together. You chose to push it off and just say eventually, oh, they're in love now. You didn't see it, but they're in love now. Don't worry about it. You do not get to talk about fetishizing gay characters, you bitch. What are you talking about?
Considering the amount of time she spends on the unnecessary relationships, like in the last book or the book before, one of them, there's so many relationships you can't even keep track. Everyone, and I'm not exaggerating this, everyone is in a relationship. Everyone is in love with something. Someone. Yeah, that chair is beautiful. No. Everyone is in some form of relationship, and then there's a point where one of the characters loses the person they love. Like, they don't even willingly break up or whatever. They lose the person they love, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's an independent character. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's so good. Freaking, like, 2 chapters later, there's another person just walks in and says, you know I love you. What is that?
She couldn't even focus on the relationship she started.
She just had to make more and more.
All the ones she writes are, I'm going to sound PC again, the straight ones. She has a lesbian couple later on, and literally one of them gets shipped off to an island so they can't be together.
Like, is she writing gay characters and then getting rid of them?
Yeah.
Just because.
And then she gets credited, like, oh, well, she's a pioneer of LGBT writing. No!
Everything she writes, she does so she gets this title, and then the second she's done with them, like, Malec wasn't supposed to last. It was supposed to be done in the first book. You know, hello, I'm gay, goodbye.
Yeah, because Alec was supposed to die. That was supposed to be it.
In fairness, it was an annoying thing when they were in Idris, and then suddenly, oh, people are allowed to be gay, then everyone's gay.
Yeah, like Alec and well, we'll talk about more in City of Glass, but when Alec and Magnus come out as gay, suddenly everyone is.
And they're like, oh my god, thank you so much. And then, you know.
And it's suddenly okay, and it's like,
that's not how it works.
Well, I say that. There are a couple of nice lines that Alex says about it not being a big bad thing. I think it's in City of Lost Souls about paper cuts, but we'll talk about that when we hit it, because I do like that quote and I'll give her credit for that. But J. Kim 024 on Tumblr actually said quite a bit about Malec. They said, Alec dresses like a trash can, and yet Magnus thinks Alec's hot, Alec thinks Magnus is interested. That's how the relationship starts. That's basically it. And what exactly drew them together, since it isn't written, because it isn't. And Alec's first relationship is his first love. Oh, that's pretty much a lot for these characters. The first love is like,
and it's like it. Yeah, and it's, well, I suppose you could argue Jace, but
he didn't really love anyone. That was the point.
Well, yeah, if we come for a character who's normally so solitude and grumpy and like, oh, you don't love people, and then suddenly he's in love with another guy, and it's like, it would be a big deal, and she just feels the need to brush it off. They're like, oh yeah, they just got together, and like, that would have been so interesting. You know, the power plot.
They're such polar opposites. It would have been nice to see how they kind of.
But don't worry, guys. You can buy another book.
You can buy the Bane Chronicles for only $9.99. $9.99, and then you'll find out exactly what their first date was like and how Magnus struggled to buy Alex something for his 18th birthday.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. It's some more fan fucking service.
And then you'll get in a Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy, exclusive. I say exclusive. It was released as exclusively ebooks. I think they're published now. You can buy a ton of stories just to reach Born to Endless Night, the second last one, where you get more Malec. And then in November you can buy the Lost Book of the White, and you can find out exactly how their relationship developed. How much money is that?
Well, how many Shadowhunter books are there in this Tales of Shadowhunters?
I don't know.
I'd say there's 10.
Yeah.
And they're £10 each. So that's £100. And then that was 10, so that's £110. Then the Book of the White, that could be another 10. That's £120 to find out something you should have found out in this book, or the first, or any of them. Any of them. One chapter, one freaking conversation could have sufficed, at the very least. No. Like, she's so desperate to have gay characters, but she doesn't want to give them any kind of progress or character development other than, oh yeah, they're gay, they're in love. Wait, why are they in love? I don't know, but they are. So. It's like when you get when you get love triangles, and like there's these two amazing guys, but then there's the girl who's a turnip, and you genuinely wonder what they see in her.
Yeah.
Like, there's no personality, they're not hot, they don't do anything, they just sit there like a sock. So what? And that's what it feels like with Malec. I mean, they're both interesting characters, but
you don't get to see that interesting.
There doesn't feel like any kind of connection other than they're gay. So they must be together. It's like that annoying thing you get when you're in a class and there's two gay people and people are like, oh my god, you two should date because you're gay. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
When there's two people in a classroom or somewhere like they're two gay people, oh my god, you should be together. That's exactly what this book is.
That's it. and we'll talk about this when we release City of Fallen Angels, but even Magnus's bisexuality gets a friggin' kick in the nuts when the final few books hit. And then it gets even more annoying that these books are praised for their LGBT representation when Alex says things like, is there anything you're not into? And you're like, oh. And in the Bane Chronicles, we're going to be talking about how Magnus fancies everyone.
Like, anyone who he comes across, they're like, oh my god, they're so hot. Which doesn't help the argument that, Magnus will do everyone. Like that shit that Casserole came out with, that he's pansexual.
She can't remember what she writes. Someone commented on City of Boners, I'll find their name and put it in the bottom. They pointed out that she changes she couldn't even remember what age Alec was.
Yeah. Because
in the Bane Chronicles, she writes that Magnus is obsessing over what to buy Alec for his 18th birthday. And then earlier in the exact same collection of books, Ragnar tells Magnus that they agreed that Magnus's age limit is 18.
So
why is he dating Alec then if he has an age limit? Is Alec that special?
He has blue eyes.
He's blue eyes. He has blue eyes and black hair. It's Magnus's favorite combination. Fuck his personality.
Generic. Basic bitch.
Boring.
Got a little bit of my throat.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm just really going around.
Anyway, so yeah, the gay fucking shite in this is just, it's ridiculous. But that's the thing, it's barely there. That's why.
I know, you can barely talk about it because it's not even there.
Because it's not there, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And when this, as Erin says, when it becomes popular,
as soon as everyone's shipping Malec, she's like, oh, buy my side series, buy my new trilogy, buy my book, there might be a story about Malec in it. Hint, hint.
Imagine Casserole behind a computer writing the sex scenes. I'm going to make who's the bottom, who's the top. Oh, put your tongue there.
Literally, when those questions started arising, that's when she wrote Simon walking in on them having sex in Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. And then it just made things worse. There were people on Tumblr going, I was right, and others going, I don't believe it. And you're like, this did nothing.
What does this encourage?
And it just means she's fetishizing them even more.
But we could talk about this for the entire video.
Yeah.
But our point is, it was just stupid.
Moving on. I said I wanted to talk about Isabelle in because we forgot in City of Bones.
Yeah.
And Elaine Spades also said, Izzy is just in the background, and whenever we are told anything about her, it's usually just how much Clary still doesn't like her, or about how promiscuous Izzy is, and not in the girl power way, in the look at that slut way. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Cassandra slut shames her own character. Like in the movie or was the show, Izzy wore like a very short outfit, and Cassandra was going, Isabelle would never wear that. When she literally writes how much of a slut her character is.
Like, it was the show, it was Emery Tobia in the first episode, she was wearing kind of like...
Oh, the leather suit?
No, it was like a sort of, I think it was like a shirt thing, it was kind of like this, but like, it kind of went, you could see her back and her hips.
Oh.
And Isabelle was just, I mean, like, Clary, fuck, she wishes. Clare was just like, all Isabelle wore was gear.
Lies!
And people were pulling up quotes going, Isabelle's wearing a dress, look at Cassandra Jean's art. Clary is, look at Cassandra Jean's art, Isabelle is wearing a dress because you quoted Isabelle always fighting in a dress with a big slit up the leg, which is a lot more dangerous than fighting in a shortest shirt and jeans.
Or than fucking knee-high 5-inch heels. You know, the only thing she could say that wasn't girly about Isabelle was she kept her nails short. That was it. Any other time she was, you know, as you say, promiscuous, short sleeve, short dress, short everything.
Slut who Clary hated.
Because she was hot.
Even when she knew that Isabelle and Jace weren't together, she still hated Isabelle.
Because reasons?
Like, if she didn't like Alec, fine, I get it. They had a disagreement in the first books, fine, whatever, but Isabelle done nothing to her.
Isabelle tried to help her.
Yeah, like, it's like, it doesn't...
The worst Isabelle said was, I wish I had a flat chest like you.
Yeah!
That was it!
You get nothing. And, like, there was potential to have a character that's like, oh, she's girly, but, like, she's badass, too. It's possible. But no, it's like, she's girly, she's a slut. You have to be a tomboy like Clary to be an interesting character.
You also, if you're wearing promiscuous clothes, you're a slut. If you're pretty, you're a slut. If you're Isabelle, you're a slut.
Claire's logic, ladies and gentlemen.
She was a slut because she was in with that Fae, wasn't she?
She did in Meliorn, yeah.
That's it. She was in a relationship, so she was a slut.
She's had multiple relationships in the past. She's a slut, but Jace has multiple relationships. He's not a slut.
He's a player.
He's a player. He's fine. He's like the cool guy who like dates loads of girls and he like plays around, but he's not a man whore or anything. No.
But that gets onto the topic, you know, the very controversial. Why can everyone just not be sluts?
If it hadn't been an issue, this is something that I had with Fallen Angels that we were talking about. If it was addressed as a problem in Clary's character, if Clary had this prejudiced belief that Isabelle was a slut and Jace wasn't, and she later realizes that this was wrong and she maybe apologizes or something happens, if that's a little something called character development. But no, it's not. She might have mentioned later in the books that she regrets thinking about Isabelle the way she does, but she never apologizes.
You know, maybe have a humanoid character.
Yeah, because you're allowed to have flaws in your characters.
Everyone judges people.
Yeah.
Everyone does it, whether it's from jealousy or you just, you know...
Like, I made a video about this when they were saying, when I was talking about Alec being biphobic, it was about him. I was saying if it was part of the character development, you're allowed to have characters who have flaws, but they have to realize for there to be character development. They can't just
like recognition of their.
They can't just be an ass and not apologize, you know.
Unless you're trying to make them out to be.
Unless they're supposed to be a dick or they're supposed to be a villain, you know what I mean? But no,
just bad.
There's nothing. Isabelle's just that's the slut.
Because I'm jealous. But we said about how we thought she was jealous of Isabelle, so...
Yeah, and it gets worse when she dates Simon. But that's not yet.
Not quite. You good with that?
Talking about Lord Montgomery. I've got a quote from my friend. I've got a quote for our next topic from my friend on Skype, the aromantic. She will, I will be reading an essay she wrote about problems she has with City of Heavenly Fire when we reach it.
It'll be good.
But for now, we have a quote from her that pretty much sums up our next topic pretty well. Clary, God among us, making super runes that are never used again.
Rune ex machina!
Woo! Like, literally, making Clary being able to invent runes, and this becomes extremely potent in City of Glass. and we'll definitely talk about that, but she invents runes that get them out of the situation that they're in, but now that it's invented, they should be using it again, but they never do.
They're just like, oh, I know we could use this rune that could potentially save our lives, but nah, we'll go for the hard option. You know, you've got a fucking, oh, I learned how to shoot a gun, but I'm still gonna kill this intruder with a baseball bat.
It doesn't make sense. Clary invents a rune when they're on the boat that blows a hole in the ship. It literally creates a hole. And anytime they're trapped again in the future, she never uses it.
And you can't even use the argument that she hasn't got a stelly, because
she steals these, or she steals them, or she's given one. I can't remember when she's given one, but she's bound to have one by the end of the series.
Yeah, most of the time she has one, or people around her is bound to have them.
Yeah, like in the movie, she just went into Isabelle's boot and just took it.
It's like, mine now.
Yeah, like, and the fearless rune. I don't think the fearless rune is ever used again, but it would be so helpful if you could make someone fearless. There's a whole scene where they're like she's like, oh, I think this is a fearless rune, and they're like, oh, well, you know,
let's find out.
Let's find out. Let's test it on Alec. And they're like, Alec, what are you scared of? Because he put it on. He's like, I don't feel any different. And they're like, well, what are you afraid of? And he's like, spiders in the dark. And they're like, well, we can't really
throw you in a dark room of spiders.
Yeah, we can't do that. But then his parents walk in, and suddenly he's like up, and he's just like, Mom, Dad, I gotta tell you something. They're like, what? And he's like, I'm seeing someone. And everyone's like, no, Alec, get out of here! And Magnus just go, and he knocks him out. And like, so it's a rune that works. It literally was going to overcame Alec's fear of telling his parents that he was
his homophobic parents.
His homophobic parents, that he was gay and dating a Downworlder. They're gay and racist, might we add. They hate Downworlders, so he was going to tell them that he was gay and he was dating a Downworlder. That's how powerful that rune is. And I don't know if I just can't remember, but I never remember them ever saying, oh, I'm putting my fearless rune on for battle.
No.
Unless
they're going to use the argument that, you know, Shadowhunters are never scared. But
they're never scared. I bet you wouldn't work on Jace, because Jace has no fear apart from losing Clary.
Then can we put the fearless rune on her and have him stab her?
Would that work? Get your fanfictions ready. Do it. Make a parody fic.
If there is one, send it to us, please. We need to read that, like, to balance out these books.
Just do it.
Just do it.
But
yes, I have Shadow above helping us in a minute.
Just do it. But like, they invent these runes, and they're really powerful runes. Runes that aren't the same in the Grey Book at all. They're new. They've never been done before. They're never used again.
We need them at this moment in the plot, so we're going to use them at this moment. But later on, no,
never again.
Don't need it then.
Cassandra Clare wrote herself into a corner, especially in City of Glass. And in City of Glass was supposed to be the last book, so it made sense. But then when she decided to extend the series, you spend the entire time thinking plot hole, because you'll get to see she creates the ultimate Deus Machina rune, as Aromantic calls it. Well, she calls it Deus Machina rune 2. I think it's 2, because the Deus Machina rune 1 is the blowing the hole in the ship one, and when we describe it in the City of Glass, reviews are going to be like, you're going to facepalm. Like, what? Like, that solves everything! And it's never used again. Reasons? Because they need drama, and she wrote the ultimate scapegoat rune, so it's just sort of like, this is a matter of just brushing under the carpet.
We could break this magical object right now that's going to destroy the world, because we have a bat ready. But wait, we can't. Because we can't. That's it. No other reason. Instead, now we have to go down to Switzerland to get a table to crush it with.
Yeah.
Like, it's that ridiculous.
Like, Aromantic compared it to in Harry Potter when J.K. Rowling wrote that all the Time Turners were destroyed, to explain why they never used the Time Turner again. Like, there's none of why they never used this rune again. It's just sort of, it's like trying to shove all the loose corners under the carpet and hope that people don't notice that. Like, I didn't notice. It was written so badly. I had to have Aromantic explain to me what the rune really was. I didn't know that it actually did what was described. But we'll talk about that more when we reach City of Glass. But the point is, Clary invents new runes. New runes can solve so many different scenarios that happen later in the books, but never used. Like, if she created a rune that helps you rub out writing with your finger, then, you know, you'd understand why it was never used again, because there's no situation that arises where you'd need to rub out writing with your finger when you're in a dilemma. But no, she invents these big runes
that you could blow someone up.
because they're supposed to like big up. Oh, Clary can solve everything. Clary can invent these big runes, but they never use them.
The power she has in regards to the Shadowhunters world is extensive. It is incredible. She could create a rune to do anything. She could create a rune, for all we know, to kill Valentine.
Yeah,
You know, like I could be Clary. I draw the rune on it. She's Valentine. And there you go.
gone, done, sorted.
But here we are with her sitting there, and you could use the excuse of, oh, but doesn't she drain the runes up for convenience? Well, what about the fucking Fearless rune? Didn't she think that at the top of her head?
Yeah, she thought really hard and then it came into her head.
If she put enough concentration into a rune that could solve all their problems, even if she made a rune that made the mortal instruments, like, I don't know, don't work anymore.
Yeah, like she does that. She does that in the show. Well, I assume that's what she does in the show. It's never explained. She draws a rune on the mortal sword. Doesn't work.
There you go.
It's done. You know, even though that whole plot was stupid anyway.
Draw a rune on someone, so they have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You find the bad guys. You find the good guys. You find the people who are actually innocent, and no one gets hurt. The whole thing with Jace being locked up could have been solved in one chapter.
Yeah.
But here we are going the long route again because
she needs to extend these books. How many pages in this one?
I think it's 400 again.
400 pages of so many things that now that Clary can invent runes could have been solved in at least half of this.
But no. So that's a big stupid pile of stupid, because, as we said, it could have been solved.
It's lazy writing, really. She didn't even bother to explain later why they never use it.
Copy paste.
Next point. Simon is a vampire. He becomes a vampire. But not just any old vampire. Gary Stu starts. He turns into the Gary Stu Daylighter.
Because he needs to be in the plot more.
He is a proper vampire for like half the book, where he can't go out in sunlight. And then he drinks Jace's blood. And Jace has special blood. He's very special.
So Jace's blood makes him able to go out in the light, because, you know, you need Simon for the plot. But what?
And that's where Raphael gets introduced to the plot here. And if any of you guys are from the Shadowhunters show, Raphael's a lot younger in the books. There's actually a lot of characters that are a lot younger in the books. Maureen is like half of the age of the girl in the show. Because, you know, it makes it less creepy that way. But Raphael is 14?
He's 14 or 13 or 12.
Yeah. He's quite young. He's just not being preteen, maybe just a teenager. But he's a vampire, and that's where he gets introduced. And there's not really, is there much he does? He's involved in, he brings Simon to Clary when he's killed.
And then he sort of becomes his seer.
Yeah.
A little bit, I guess. But Simon's not around him enough to be able to do it. And then there's the whole thing of, you know, oh, you're a vampire. Blah, blah, blah.
The most convoluted way of becoming a vampire. Oh, you have to bury him, and then he has to claw his way out. And you're like,
but
what?
He gets buried into the ground, and then if he doesn't claw his way out, he stays there for eternity.
It does, but like, it's like,
why?
How does burying someone, first of all, wake them up if they're dead?
Magic?
I guess, but are vampires magic?
They're kind of like, well, they come from Dracula making a deal with the devil, so maybe sort of demonic kind of magic.
But it was just a really, maybe she was trying to be inventive and coming up with her own way of writing
vampires.
Simon being a vampire, but it's just
dumb.
I said, why? They did. I remember when I said, they were like, "Oh yeah, we have to bury Simon in the show." I was like, "Oh fuck, they're doing it this way." But at least they were smart in the show. Raphael stood at the grave as soon as Simon came out, throwing sachets of blood at him
before, because in the book he tried to attack Clary.
Yeah, they weren't ready.
Raphael was like, "Don't go near him; he will kill you." And Clary's like, Simon!
Simon, my baby, Simon!
And then he's like,
He's like, why would you do this to me?
gosh, you'd almost think he's a vampire. And then she's just like, he tried to kill me. And he feels bad about it.
Of course she makes him feel bad.
You know, Simon, I trusted you. Blah, 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 blah.
At least even in the show, Jace helped Clary back.
Yeah, you're just like...
I mean, it's stupid of her in the first place, but he's like, no.
But it's Clary, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Clary's fucking stupid anyway.
And then it's just like, ugh.
And then on the boat, Simon gets drained of blood, and Valentine, not Valentine, Jace says, drink me!
And which leads to him becoming a day later.
Because Jace has been experimented on, like Clary. He has special blood.
Wasn't it the scene in the truck, like, the sun was coming up or something and Simon was sitting outside?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, someone was, some reason, I don't remember.
I mean, it's not like there was a warlock in the truck or anything. He could have been like, blanket.
Could have been, you know, in the truck.
Yeah, like transport quickly, switch places with someone.
So there's a situation where he becomes exposed to the sunlight and him and Clary are like, you know, I love you, but does she say she loves him?
They admit that they love each other.
Yeah, they admit they love each other, but I think Clary means it in the way of like, you know, you're my best friend, I'll always love you. In a brotherly way. Brotherly. She loves him in that way.
I wouldn't trust her how she loves her brothers.
Well, he would like it.
Simon would.
Yeah. Anyway, they admit they love each other, and so, you know, rather than moving or sitting under the fucking thing, they're like, we'll just die here in grace. I might be getting wrong because I can't actually remember why the scene, but I know the sun was coming up and the sun was up, and they're like, oh, you didn't turn to ash? Ooh! Oh no!
Stupid fucks.
Oh, and voila.
But that's after the attack on the boat, and the attack on the boat was just the attack on the boat. And
I honestly didn't know what was happening at the time.
Yeah, it was written in a very confused manner. But the Inquisitor says, "Oh, Jace, I know who your family are." And they're like, "Oh, great! You can finally find out his identity." Dead.
She sacrifices herself for him.
She sacrifices herself for him, because you know it's not like she hated him for most of the book or anything.
You know, for some reason, just
we talk like,
just I'm gonna die for you. Like
plot.
Yeah. You know, I love the way these conversations go. Like, you know the way you have a pause when there's conversations? I know it's different how people talk, but if people were talking like, your family isn't really them, it's them. That's how you would say it. Yeah. You wouldn't be like, oh, I know who your family is.
Like, it would be oh my god, you're not a Wayland, you're a... I don't want to say, because I have Shadowhunter ears. I'll say it like now. Cover your ears or mute it. Skip over.
You know,
the way that conversation should have went is, oh my god, you're not a Wayland, you're a Herondale, and then
done. So even if she died, he knows what the crack is.
But no, it says like, I know who your family are,
and as if they were having like a realistic pause moment where they're both sitting there like.
Like it's where like if a TV show the dramatic music would be and like dun 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 dun. Oh, and then we get to talk about the power of a tie bond again, because Alec gets thrown off the boat, and the only thing that Jace only tastes seawater in his mouth, and that's it. Isabelle screams Alec's name, and Jace is like.
Bit salty.
And then the deck collapses. And I suppose it could be said the deck collapsing is like Jace didn't get time to react.
But that's bullshit.
Like, he's supposed to be like
connected to him on a deeper level.
Like
we went over this the first time we were talking about the power of ties, but like not Jace, the other one. Alec could essentially be drowning. And Jace is just like bit salty, that salt water.
Magnus has to save him.
Which is all great. Well, do we even see that? Hear that? Note that? Or is it...
Alec gets pulled under the truck and there's the whole take my strength.
Oh.
One of the very few Malec developed scenes there are, if not the only one. It's not really a developed scene because we didn't get to see how the apartment thing went.
Nope.
Oh, and that's it. And like, I mean, like, even when that demon shows up on the boat and Jace sees Clary instead of sees Clary, he's like, oh, I can't harm that. Like, she's the one I wouldn't harm the most or something, because when it shows up later and it's Valentine, he harms it. I wouldn't even believe it should have been Clary.
No, it should have been.
Well, the bond is strong as the parabatai. As the parabatai is built up to be.
It should have been someone who you physically were incapable, which is what the parabatai, as Aaron says, to be built up as something that is so deep and connected that the thought of hurting them is an abhorrent thought. But he sees Clary instead.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm sorry, I'd rather stab my sister than stab someone who I've decided means more to me than my sister.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, it's Clary, so...
It's like, it's a problem in the... It's a bit of a problem in the show as well, because the parabatai bond is miles better in the show. I love it, I love how they do it, but there are moments, like, there's a moment when Luke comes into, like, Hunter's Moon, and Jace is just like, oh, don't tell me Alec needs help again or something like that. It's like, don't tell me, what does Alec want? And then Luke is just like, Clary's in trouble, and Jace is just like, wow, straight out the door.
Like, he is gone. There's a dust smoke behind this blonde bitch. But when it's someone who he's decided is worth sharing some, you know, your life with. Yeah, your connection. Like, ow. And it's just like, but for your, you know, recent piece of ass, you're more... It's not coming out in words that well.
Because you have to be confident enough in a parabatai to know that you are going to be together for the rest of your life.
You will always, whenever they are in need, you will come for them. You will help.
Yeah. But we only ever see that in Alec. Alec is constantly chasing after Jace.
Which is kind of like in the books as well.
Yeah, it's like, Jace, don't do that. It's stupid. Don't help her. She's Valentine's daughter. Don't do this, don't do that. And Jace is like, I'm Jace Wheeler, I'm going to do what I want. And then he has the gall, anytime Alec is unsure, to go, you're my parabatai, you're my brother, do this for me. And you're like...
But if it was thrown the other corner, it's like... It's just so dumb. They expect us to believe in this very powerful bond when she can't even portray it correctly. How can this parabatai thing work if Alec is going miles for Jace, but when Jace needs his help, he's acting like it's, you know, that annoying friend who's mooching off you.
Yeah.
That's how he treats him, and you're just like, how are we supposed to believe in this parabatai bond when it's just so weak and one-sided and just...
Like in City of Lost Souls, I think it is, there's a throwaway line about Alec and Jace feeling stuff when they're hurt, but we'll get to that when it comes to it. It's actually something, I think it was the Aromantic who brought this up to me as well. She says it's actually to save Cassandra's ass for something for her other book series, because she didn't write the parabatai bond well enough and she had to clean up after herself. But it was so bad, so
it
bad.
Was terrible line. But yes, we'll probably come on to it every single book. The parabatai is so weak. So weak.
If weak's even, like, you know, that's a word than weak, feeble.
They just...
Like a skeleton trying to, like, lift the weight.
Alec is the only one who cares. And Jace is just like, he throws it in his face. It's like, you know, if you lent a lot of money to someone, and... they're just constantly like, oh yeah, no, but then you ask them for something, like, well, how dare you?
Yeah.
But they'll be throwing that in your face every single time, and it's just like, Jace takes Alec for granted. And then we're supposed to believe, like you said in the show, Alec's in trouble. He was annoyed that his parabatai might need him.
It wasn't even that he was annoyed that his parabatai needed him. Alec was refusing to do something because it was against what he believed. And Jace are going, you're my parabatai, my brother.
How can you...
do this? And you're like, he's been doing everything for you for 9 episodes.
But Clary's in trouble.
And like, I was gonna say something. It's like that saying they say, people used to always say, you don't know what you have until it's gone. But there's a counter argument where it's just like, you know full well what you have, you just don't think it's gonna leave. And that's pretty much that's
Alec.
Yeah, that's it. And there was something I was going to say. Something I was leaving back when I was thinking about it. Something about the parabatai bond. Oh, yes. In these books, Alec is seen through Clary's eyes. And they have an altercation, as we said in the first book, where she outs him. There's a moment he pushes her. But the way it is that Alec defending and trying to uphold the rules and the culture of the Shadowhunters, it's built up as if he's the bad guy because of it. because he's going against what Clary wants to do, and we're seeing it through Clary's eyes. And I get the Shadowhunter community are not a good community. They're racist, they're homophobic, stuff like that. But that doesn't change the fact that Alec and Isabelle and Jace were raised to follow these rules, and they're basically. It was a bit like this in the show as well. Alec gets villainized for trying to keep everything
the way it should
be. Even in the movie, when he was just like, Jace thinks he can save the world, don't encourage him to do it, because he wants to keep Jace safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's every time he does something that goes against what Clary wants, it's like, oh, the big bad bastard, how can he, how dare he want to uphold his culture, you know?
Yeah. Like, when Clary comes to Idris, she just throws herself about and expects it all to change for her. And even in the books, it's built up these people trying to keep the traditions that have nothing to do with her at all. And she's suddenly, how can these people be so cruel? And you're throwing yourself in and expecting everything to change to what you want. You're becoming a bit of a dictator yourself. And all these guys are bad because they're staying with traditions. Whether these traditions are wrong or not, they're their traditions.
Change doesn't just happen.
But she's expecting it to because she's Clary.
Yeah, even in the show, she was just like, I don't care about your rules.
Right.
She's like, I just want to find my mom. And you're like, oh dear
this
Lord.
Is why you don't belong here.
This is why people don't like you.
Oh, well, fuck me.
Do you have any friends besides Simon?
No.
Simon has friends. He's his bandmates.
You have no one, and it will stay that way.
You sound like that annoying friend who always tags along with Simon. And I was like, why'd you bring Clary?
Oh my god, I bet she is.
So, why'd you bring Clary?
And he's like, she's hot, okay?
I'm trying to get that. Leave it. But he doesn't want to be your friend.
Bro code, dude. Bro code. Is Maureen that black girl from the show?
No, on the show, who was in the first episode? Yeah, that's Maureen.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end there's a battle on the boat. Valentine escapes again, but character Madeline shows up, and she's just like, I know where your mum is. I don't know where your mum is. I know where to wake up your mum.
I'm convenient to the plot. Hi.
I'm the only changing factor in this entire book. So if I wasn't here, we'd be in the exact same place.
Yeah, we essentially are.
But thank God we added me. I add a bit of difference.
I could have been in the first chapter, and then this book could have actually been some kind of development.
It's like, what held you up, Madeline? Where have you been? Were you busy painting your nails?
Just watching it go was just, maybe the name would help. But my nails are wet.
I need to file them.
I can't go like this, can I? Look at that.
Well, here, Magnus Bane's gonna be there, and he's
fabulous.
Yeah, right, so I need to look the same.
The boat blew up. I guess I better go.
I better go now.
My tea's ready. I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's her character.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for showing up at the end.
Thank you for being beneficial to the last page. Thank you.
And even before that, there's all the awkward stuff where Luke was like, I regret not telling Jocelyn how I felt.
So stupid.
And Clary's just like, this is like me.
Even
I should tell Jace, we should just fucking just do it. And then Jace says no, and she's like, how could he? Like, God. How could he?
How could he be one?
How could he not want to fuck his sister? Like, what the hell? What's wrong with you, Jace? Like, everyone's doing it. All the rednecks and shit. All those people with Jeremy Kyle are like, we don't care. We love each other. Get with the times, Jace. Incest is the newest thing. Have you ever read supernatural fanfiction?
I was looking for when Madeline shows up, and it's genuinely the last few pages.
Is it?
Yeah, look.
What's her excuse?
Clary walked numbly with wide steps, blah 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 blah. She held it together. Taki's even Jace hugging her goodbye. Luke, when she knew that she was wearing them. Okay. The 410, the last page, right? As she neared the top of the steps, she realized that there was a woman standing there. She was wearing a long dark cloak over her dress, not the sort of thing you usually saw on the Manhattan street. The cloak was very dark. The cloak was made of dark velvety material and had wide hood, which was up, hiding her face. It was a glamour. Clary noticed it was the glamour. She reached the top and paused, looking up at the woman. She still couldn't see her face. She said, look, if you're here to see me, just tell me what you want. I'm not really in the mood for all this glamour and secrecy stuff right now. So, Clary has to talk to the woman in the first place. And then the woman's like, oh yeah, you're a person, so... Her voice was gentle but oddly familiar. So on the last freaking 2 pages, a freaking paragraph down. It is here where it starts. Yes, I mean, I can show you how to wake your mother up. That is the last sentence of this page. Of 411 pages, on 410 do we learn what we could have learned on the first page. And Clary finds her. She doesn't come and find Clary. She finds her on the streets of Manhattan. And it's like, oh, I wasn't going to come see you. I wanted you to find me, so I knew you wanted to find your mother was alive. Or wake your mother up. It was such a forgettable book.
Convenient character is convenience.
Seriously, like everything in this book is convenient. Everything that happens is supposed to be convenient to the plot. Nothing happens naturally. Nothing has a flow. Every single thing, every single action is always doing something.
This book and City of Fallen Angels are the most pointless ones.
They're just filler.
Nothing happens. There's no purpose. But you know why they're here?
A bang a jing jing ding.
Moolah, money.
Must be funny in Casserole's world.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yes, this book was forgettable. I couldn't remember anything about it. We had to do some research on actually what happened. That's how much
It had been so long.
We couldn't remember what was going down. Obviously, didn't like it. I've always confessed that I liked the first book, but everything after was just trash.
Not the good kind of trash.
Not the good, just smutty trash. This is just
not insert the you're not trash, you're lovely line. I love you, Matthew Daddario, but that doesn't apply here. This is garbage.
This is just... What is this book? Mine's got yellow pages, it's that bad. It's rotting from the inside out.
Peasants would think it's age.
But it's not. It is just...
Mine's barely touched. I read it once, and then the pages are like, all in like...
Yeah, well...
Right. Gonna do a comparison here. Yes, I'm a Hunger Games whore. I brought it up the last time. Yeah, deal with it.
But... You know, you can see from something that's so... They're both obviously 2 very popular books.
This is another book series that I adored. Mm-hmm. And I initially was obsessed with the mortal instruments. Look at my Hunger Games spines.
They are just destroyed.
I read them so much. Where's my city laugh?
I think that speaks for itself.
And I thought I loved these books too. But I barely reread them. It was like on a subconscious level, I knew these books were pointless.
And the funny thing is, I mean, there's no point getting into a big comparison, but The Hunger Games is such a more simplistic style of writing too.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes Cassandra's trying to be... Oh, what's the quote?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on tight for a smart, sexy thrill ride. Shut up, Lebba Bay. What the fuck do you know?
Sexy?
Yeah.
Oh my god, she got all her incest friends.
Ooh. This bitter language. I know your streets, sweet city. I know the demons and angels that flock and roost in your boughs like birds. I know you, river, as if you flowed through my heart. I am your warrior daughter. There are letters made of your body as a fountain is made of water. There are languages of which you are the blueprint, and as we speak them, the city rises. Elka, cloak this bitter language.
Another sort of quote thing that's put in, like
we've had people confirm in our comments the Shakespeare quote has nothing to do with
the story.
City of Bones. I'll again add their names.
You can let us know if you know what this means, because I'm gonna be real, I don't.
Something else I realised is that at each part of the book there's a new quote. There's like each book is split into 3 parts. Part 1, A Season in Hell. The quote is from Arthur Rimbaud, and it's, I believe I am in hell, therefore I am.
Oh my god, how Tumblr is that?
I know. Where's part 2? Part 2. The gates of hell. Before me things created were none. See if things eternal, and eternal I endure. All hope abandon, ye who enter here. Dante Inferno.
Oh, Dante's Inferno, that's good. Good job. Bring the man who went through bloody hell into your book. Because that's the same. He went through the layers of hell, and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's the same as these books.
Hell. What? Yeah, because Clary's Trouble's certainly the same as that. Where's the fuck's part 3?
Is there part 3 or was it only 2
It should
parts?
be. I thought it was 3 parts. like front 2.
Part 3, Day of Wrath. Day of Wrath, the day of burning. Seer and Sybil speak concerning. All the world to ashes turning. Abraham Coles.
Get it, Cassandra, you read poetry. Or do you even, or do you just
Google.
Do you just go to, what's a good quote? Goodreads? And get quotes.
So, basically we're saying is she's trying to assume that this book, her characters were going through hell. It's my interpretation.
In this one! Never mind the one where they actually go to hell dimension.
No, it's this one.
It's this one! Where there's fearless runes and Seelie kisses and...
So much nothing. So much nothing. Guys, I don't know what more we can say. It's just... At least with City of Bones, there was, problems. But there's so much nothing going on. Picking apart everything we have said, there's just not much else. It's a filler book, you could read the last maybe chapter and get the gist of what had happened, and that's it.
It's a sign of top A+ writing there.
Take a creative writing course, please. I think that's it.
So, once again, thank you to everyone to the positive response for City of Boners. Our next one will be City of Gases. We will record that. I'm gonna try and do what we did the last time and maybe do this on a fortnightly period because we are very busy people with very busy social lives. Like I gotta clean my room next week. So
I have to make dinner.
Yeah. So
and, my socks they need in the washing machine.
Yeah, we have very busy social lives, so our schedules don't meet sometimes. But I'll try and do this on a fortnightly basis from now on. So it'll be podcast a week with no podcast and another podcast. So please send in any issues you have with City of Glass, and we'll discuss them similarly to how we did it in this episode. Leave blog name, anything you want, Twitter name. Tweet me at BeBerryChills. You'll get my 94. You'll get my wee link on my profile. Please follow me there. Tweet me if you want us to talk about anything. Send me a Tumblr ask. Do what you want, and we will most certainly talk about it in our podcast. So
leave your comments about what you thought of the book. If there was any points we didn't actually get across, if there was something major we missed, something small we missed, something that you particularly like, dislike, or actually like. Why do you like the books? Why do you think this book was needed? Debate us. If you agree wholeheartedly, good for you, you're a good human. If you don't,
you're a good human too, but we'd like to hear your
bad
points.
taste. So let us know, and we'll obviously
like, comment, and subscribe for more. We'll probably do more anyway, even if this is a flop. That's it for this week's Shadowhunters, Angels, and Dark Like. And remember, don't write a pointless book.
Just don't.
It'll be pointless.
And don't leave everything to the last page.
Yeah. Don't take writing lessons from Cassandra Clare or Cassandra Louise.
Spread the word.
Her name's not even Cassandra. I can't even remember what her real name is.
Judith?
Something.
Later, guys!